guess what? I just passed my mod 1 the other day. Yeah, it was pretty good, man, passing it. Like, I wasn't nervous or anything, but the first time I done it, I didn't get it. So the first time I done it, I went through everything. It's pretty good. I only got one minor, I think, for the slalom. Apparently my figures of 8 weren't very symmetrical, but I don't know, that's what the guy says. He looked like a bit of a prick, but he just wasn't smiling or anything. He came across really rude, but I don't know, maybe he's just a bit upset about something, I don't know. But yeah, so I went through all the maneuvers and stuff, and then it came to what? Emergency stop. Basically beforehand he was like to me, because I went around the cones, and basically you go like around one set of cones and then another set of cones, and there's like a blue and a red cone which kind of like indicate the bend, like as if, say this is a road marking, there'd be like a red one on the left, loads of red ones on the left, and then a few on the right, blue ones. So you have to obviously go inside. I don't know, for whatever reason I missed one of them, and then I done my controlled stop, and then he was like to me after I done it, he was like, you do realize you're supposed to go around the bend? And then I was like, yeah, I did go around the bend, what are you on about? And then he was like, no you didn't, you weren't, you skipped you skipped one set of the blue and red cones. And then after that point I thought I'd failed, man. So I was just like, well, I wouldn't say that I failed because of that, because I didn't fail. I failed basically because of my emergency stop. Like, there's no other way to put it. The emergency stop messed me up. But the morning before it was really icy, so like if you're gonna do your mod 1 in winter, like I done mine last week, I think. Or was it? No, it was this week. Yeah, it was like a few days ago. Yeah, I done my mod 1, and wow, you fucking idiots. Like, what was the point in that? You had all this fucking room and just being a fucking dick. But anyways, so I done my mod 1, failed it the first time. So the morning before, if you're doing it in the winter, you want to make sure that it's not icy beforehand, because I don't know if you can tell them to call it off, because I only had it once, but I didn't realise until I went there. So the ground that we were practicing on was pretty icy, so I didn't get to practice emergency stop or hazard avoidance, and that could have been why I failed, but obviously it was down to me at the end of the day. I wasn't stopping fast enough, but still, if I had that extra practice the morning before, I think I would have been fine. And I've done another day, cost about £150, bloody expensive, that's just for mod 1. Done another day, then I passed at that time with no minors. Well, one minor actually. It was you're supposed to do 50 in 50 kilometers per hour, which is I think 32 miles per hour in the hazard avoidance and emergency stop. I done it in emergency stop 50 bang on, and for the hazard avoidance I just messed up 1 kilometer an hour, but that doesn't really matter. I think you're allowed up to 5 on the mod 1. That moment when he looks in his mirror and he looks towards you and you give a cheeky little smile. Yeah man, it's really starting to warm up a bit now. Well, just for this week at least anyways. We're in February right now. Last week and the week before was pretty cold, but I think this is just a 1 week wonder, to be honest. Knowing the UK will probably be snowing by the end of this week, but some more advice on mod 1 that I could give that helped me out. So if you're doing mod 1, hopefully it can help you out as well. So you start off obviously doing your manual handling. Now it's easy, but I mean, I can't lie to you, I struggled at first, and that's because when you do the manual handling, the bike is quite heavy, because like, I was doing it on an ER6N, and the ER6N is a 600 or 650, probably 600, but no, probably 650 actually, I don't know. But it's really heavy, so when you're moving it, you got to try to lean it towards your body and go as slow as possible, because if you try and go fast, you will mess it up. And also, when I was doing it at my training center, they had kind of like a hill, so it was kind of harder. And when you go to the test center, they're going to do it on completely flat ground, so it's a lot easier. But just take your time with that and don't worry about what the examiner's going to say. He won't say nothing, just go as slow as you can, because if you go slow, you're not going to drop the bike. And my teacher was also saying to me to grab the bike obviously by the handlebar when you're moving it backwards, and by the seat, but I didn't prefer that method. I preferred holding like a grab handle, because I normally use the grab handle on my bike, so if you do it that way, it should help. Slalom figures of 8, to be honest, if you can ride a 125, you should be able to do it. It wouldn't be that hard for you. I wouldn't see why not. Like, first time I got on the 600, that we rode for a little bit, and then we went doing the maneuvers, but it wasn't like that hard to do, so you should be able to do it. Then after you've done slalom and figure of 8, you do slow control, so basically just using your rear brake and clutch out. Obviously not like really slow, but I mean like quite slow, like 4 or 5 miles an hour. They just don't want you, try not to like wobble. You wouldn't get like failed for it, I don't think, but you might get a minor if you keep on wobbling and going slow. But that's pretty basic. If you've been on a 125 for a little bit, you'll be okay with that. Then after that, they get you to do a controlled stop. So a controlled stop obviously is what it means. You go around the circuit, around the bend, and then you do a controlled stop. I think you have to be doing at least 25 miles an hour, but I'm not sure on that one. But it's not that hard to do. One sec. Yeah, what was I? After you do controlled stop, you stop with your front wheel in the blue cones, and after you've done that, then it's the emergency stop, and then finally hazard avoidance. So what the fuck is this guy doing? Emergency stop to hazard avoidance. So basically, one thing you can't do, because it kind of defeats the purpose, and if they catch you, they could tell you, I don't know what they do actually, but I asked my teacher about this and he said you can't do it, because I was thinking, right, you go for a speed trap, which is like 4 cones basically, but it's not 4 cones obviously, it's an actual speed trap. So you go for the speed trap, measures your speed. One thing which I didn't think about the first time I done it round, and this really helps with the emergency stop and hazard avoidance, is don't be accelerating don't be accelerating like all the way up until the speed trap. Before you get to when you're around the bend, that's when you want to start accelerating, and you want to make sure that you keep your speed constant, because when you keep your speed constant, it's a lot easier. You just have to shut off the throttle quickly and then apply brakes. The ER6N didn't have ABS, so if you will lock your wheel up, your front or your back wheel up, I think you can get failed on it. So if you have one with ABS, that's kind of a bonus, but mine didn't have ABS, but whatever. So keep the throttle constant before you get to the speed trap, and then after that, then he's going to raise his hand and then just be ready to quickly stop. Obviously not too much rear brake. In fact, some people say not to use a rear brake, but I use a tiny little bit of it, because at the end of the day, it's giving you more stopping, it's making you stop faster, isn't it? So, but you don't want to, it's easier to lock the wheel up on like a bigger bike than it is on the 125. So because I had a bad habit of just like always putting on a lot of rear brake when I'm stopping, so I'm kind of getting used to that now. And then lastly, hazard avoidance. So hazard avoidance, you just go, you go through like a set of cones, say straight, and then you have to like swerve to the left and then go and do a controlled stop inside the box at the end. Basically, when you're going through that, you don't want to be, well, when I was practicing, the trouble I had was I kept on decelerating, so getting off the throttle when I was coming up to the speed trap. I mean, when I was not after I passed the speed trap, before I was getting to the cone to avoid. And what you want to do is you want to keep your speed constant, and this is because the bike is a lot more stable. And you might think, oh, who cares about stability, but if you want to pass, I mean, you got to do it. Because I was like, why should I bloody keep the same speed, right? So if you decelerate, so let off the throttle, it's harder to avoid the cone. But if you're keeping the speed constant, it's a lot easier to like swerve around it. And yeah, that's mod 1 for you. So pretty happy I'm passed. I have got another bike. Obviously I'm just waiting to pass my mod 2, which is soon, and as soon as I pass that, I'll do another video and tell you obviously things to look out for and how my mod 2 went. So anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Catch you guys in the next video. Peace.